Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely. If you want greatness, if you want success, if you want influence, you must make education a daily ritual. Not the kind that ends with a certificate, not the kind that waits on a teacher. I am talking about the relentless fire of self-education. Knowledge is the seed of every achievement. Every invention, every empire, every fortune started with an idea. And ideas only come alive when you sharpen your mind. 1 hour of learning every day turns into 7 hours a week, 30 hours a month, 360 hours a year. That is the difference between the ordinary and the unstoppable. You cannot build power without compounding knowledge. Ignorance is the most expensive mistake you will ever make. People lose jobs, lose businesses, lose relationships because they never invested in educating themselves daily. The world punishes the unprepared and rewards the educated mind. Every day you must feed your mind with books, with ideas, with strategies, truths that elevate you. Why? Because the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. Stagnation is death disguised as comfort. Opportunities do not knock on closed minds. They bow only to the prepared. And preparation comes from discipline, the discipline to read, to study, to question, to expand your vision. Education is not a luxury. It is a duty to yourself. Your brain is your greatest capital. It is worth more than money, more than status, more than connections. Money can be lost, connections can fade. But knowledge, once yours, becomes a fortress that no one can take away. So hear me clearly. Educate yourself daily. Make it your non-negotiable. Make it your weapon. Make it your shield, make it your habit, and you will walk through life armed with a power so great that nothing, no failure, no rejection, no obstacle will ever conquer you. The mind that learns daily, rules daily. Knowledge is the seed of every achievement. Without it, nothing begins, nothing grows, and nothing. NG lasts. Every empire that was built, every fortune that was created, every invention that changed the world, all of it started with a single piece of knowledge planted in the mind of someone who refused to remain ignorant. Knowledge is the origin of all power, and when you understand this truth, you will stop wasting time and start feeding your mind daily because your future depends on it. Think of the seed. A seed by itself is small, fragile, even invisible to the casual eye. But when it is nurtured, when it is watered, when it is protected, it grows into a tree that gives shade, fruit, and shelter for generations. Knowledge works the same way. What seems like a small lesson, a short chapter, a single idea, can expand into results so powerful that it transforms not only your life, but the lives of thousands around you. Every great leader, every visionary, every innovator planted that seed of daily self-education and refused to let it die. But here is where most people fail. They NT the fruit without planting the seed. They want success without knowledge. They want wealth without wisdom. They want freedom without discipline. And life simply does not work that way. You cannot cheat the law of growth. If you are not planting knowledge daily, you are preparing yourself for failure daily. Ignorance is not just weakness. It is the most expensive mistake you will ever pay for. People lose opportunities not because they are unlucky, but because they were unprepared, uneducated, and blind to the chance standing right in front of them. The man or woman who refuses to learn is silently digging their own grave. The world is evolving every single day, and if you do not evolve with it, you are already left behind. 1 hour of education every day may seem small, but over a year it becomes 360 hours of growth. That is the difference between a stagnant mind and a powerful mind. That is the difference between the average and the unstoppable. Imagine the stray, the confidence, the certainty you would carry if you dedicated yourself to that discipline. Do not wait for someone else to teach you. Do not sit around hoping that schools, mentors, or society will hand you wisdom. True power comes from self-education, the hunger to dig, to read, to study, to observe, to question, and to apply. The world does not reward those who are merely taught. It rewards those who teach themselves. Discipline in learning creates mastery in action. If you want to command respect, if you want to move mountains, if you want to leave a legacy, you must become a master of your own mind. The truth is simple. If you stop learning, you start dying. The body may live, but the mind decays. Stagnation is death disguised as comfort. That is why so many people live average lives, because they chose comfort over growth, entertainment, over education, and excuses over effort. But you do not have to be one of them. You can rise above the crowd by dedicating yourself to daily education. Read books that stretch your vision. Listen to voices that challenge your thinking. Study strategies that sharpen your skills. Every single day, pour something valuable into your mind, because your brain is the most powerful capital you will ever own. Money can be lost, connections can fade, status can be stripped away, but knowledge, once planted, belongs to you forever. It becomes your fortress, your shield, your weapon. It allows you to adapt when others crumble, to create when others complain, and to lead when others follow. Knowledge is not just power. It is survival, it is strength. It is the very foundation of freedom. Do not treat education as an option. Treat it as oxygen. As long as you are breathing, you must be learning. Each day you neglect this, you are weakening yourself. Each day you embrace it, you are fortifying yourself. The educated mind cannot be enslaved, cannot be deceived, cannot be broken. The educated mind is unshakable because it knows where it stops. NDS and how to rise higher. Opportunities bow only to the prepared. Doors open only to those who have sharpened their minds enough to see the handle and turn it. Life gives its treasures only to those who have earned them with daily discipline. And that discipline begins with your decision right now to educate yourself daily. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because if not today, then when? So hear this with clarity. Educate yourself daily. Make it your non-negotiable. Make it your duty. Make it your ritual. Make it the first step of every morning and the last step of every night. Because if you want to build a life of power, influence, freedom, and impact, there is no other way. Knowledge is the seed of every achievement. Plant it, nurture it, guard it, and watch as it grows into greatness that nothing and no one can take away from you. Daily education compounds into unstoppable power. A single day of learning may seem small, even insignificant, but when repeated with discipline, T builds into a force so strong that it can tear down walls of limitation and construct empires of success. What you do once will not change your destiny, but what you do daily will define your life. A drop of water seems powerless, yet over time it carves valleys and shapes stone. In the same way, daily education, consistent, persistent, and relentless, sculpts the mind into something extraordinary. Greatness has never been a sudden strike of luck. It has always been the result of steady, compounding growth. Knowledge compounds like money invested wisely. The more you deposit into your mind, the more interest it pays back in wisdom, opportunities, confidence, and power. While others waste their hours on distractions, the disciplined learner builds silently until one day their power is undeniable. Success is not random. It bows only to those who prepare their minds daily. Think of it. Every page you read, every lesson you absorb, every skill you sharpen is like stacking bricks. A single brick builds nothing. 10 bricks build very little. But brick after brick, day after day, becomes a fortress. And that fortress is your mind, strong, unshakable, and indestructible. Most people underestimate the power of small daily actions. They believe change must be massive and immediate. They are wrong. Change that lasts is born from the compounding power of what you do consistently. The danger lies in neglect. Ignore your mind for a day and you notice nothing. Ignore it for a year and you will watch your life remain stuck, stagnant, and powerless. The person who refuses to learn daily begins to decay mentally while pretending to live physically. They are unprepared for opportunity, blind to growth, and defenseless against challenges. Life punishes those who stay ignorant, but it rewards those who make education their daily ritual. Daily education is not just about books, lectures, or classrooms. It is about hunger, the hunger to grow, to sharpen, to question, to expand. It is about observing, listening, experimenting, and applying. It is about making every single day a step forward, no matter how small. The person who commits to this hunger becomes unstoppable. Their confidence grows because knowledge destroys fear. Their opportunities multiply because the prepared mind sees doors where others see walls. Their influence rises because people naturally follow the one who knows, the one who is informed, the one who is wise. The tragedy is that most people spend more time entertaining their minds than educating them. They drown in noise, scrolling, gossip, distractions, all while their potential rots inside them. They say they want success, but they starve the very mind required to create it. They wish for power, yet ignore the one habit that guarantees it: daily education. If you cannot give even a fraction of your day to feed your mind, you have no right to complain about mediocrity. Understand this truth: the mind you educate daily becomes the master of your future. Money can vanish, status can crumble, relationships can change, but knowledge, once gained, cannot be taken away. It travels with you, strengthens you, and serves you. It is the one asset that no one can steal. That is why those who learn daily rise above circumstances. They do not wait for perfect conditions, they create them. They do not depend on luck, they depend on preparation. They do not ask for opportunities, they command them. The compound effect of daily education is invisible at first, and that is why so many quit. A week of learning shows little. A month feels slow, but a year of daily discipline transforms you. 3 years makes you unrecognizable. A decade makes you unstoppable. Patience is the key. Just as a tree does not show its strength in its first season, so the mind does not reveal its power in its early stages. But over time, the compounding effect is undeniable. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement. Without the discipline to educate you, or self daily, your desires remain empty wishes. But with discipline, your knowledge sharpens your actions, and your actions create results. Discipline is not punishment. It is the foundation of freedom. Freedom to think clearly, freedom to act decisively, freedom to achieve without limits. The question is simple: will you allow your days to pass in ignorance, or will you claim your power through daily education? The choice is yours. Every day you either invest in your future or you waste it. Every day you either compound your knowledge or you subtract from it. The clock is ticking, and your habits decide your destiny. So commit with unshakable resolve. Feed your mind every single day. Read with intensity. Study with passion. Observe with curiosity. Apply with courage. Make daily education the fuel of your life. Because once you do, you will find yourself growing into a person no obstacle can stop, no failure can break, and no challenge can intimidate. That is the power of daily educat. Ion. That is the unstoppable force you must unleash within yourself. Daily education compounds into unstoppable power. Plant it, nurture it, repeat it. And one day you will wake up unrecognizable, not because the world changed, but because you built the mind that changed the world. Ignorance is the most expensive mistake you can afford. It costs more than failure, more than risk, more than effort. Failure teaches, risk sharpens, effort builds. But ignorance steals silently. It robs you of opportunities you never saw, doors you never opened, and power you never claimed. People fear losing money, but ignorance costs more than money. It costs time, it costs growth, it costs destiny. You can recover from debt, you can rebuild after loss, but when ignorance rules your life, it chains you to a cycle of weakness and mediocrity. Look around. Lives are wasted not because people lack talent, but because they lack knowledge. Businesses collapse, not for lack of effort, but for lack of understand. Ding. Relationships fall apart, not always from lack of love, but from lack of wisdom. Dreams die not from impossibility, but from ignorance of the path required to reach them. The truth is brutal. Ignorance is not innocence, it is negligence. To remain ignorant in a world overflowing with information is to voluntarily choose poverty of the mind. Ignorance blinds. It makes a man walk past opportunities and call them luck when others seize them. It makes a woman surrender to fear because she never learned the principles that destroy fear. It turns human potential into wasted energy, and wasted energy into regret. Regret is the child of ignorance. Years later, people look back and say, if only I had known. But knowledge is available to those who seek it, and ignorance is the punishment for those who refuse. Understand this, you cannot escape the cost of learning. Either you pay the price of discipline now, or you pay the price of ignorance later. One is temporary, the other is permanent. One requires effort, the other demands your entire life. The disciplined learner sacrifices comfort today but gains strength tomorrow. The ignorant man enjoys comfort today but pays with weakness tomorrow. Life will collect its debt, either in the form of your dedication or in the form of your ignorance. Do not confuse ignorance with lack of intelligence. Ignorance is not inability, it is refusal. It is a choice. Every day you decide whether to grow or to remain blind. Every hour you either sharpen your vision or allow it to blur. The world is evolving, knowledge is expanding, opportunities are multiplying, but ignorance makes you stand still as the world moves past you. Standing still is falling behind. Ignorance is expensive because it silently kills what could have been. Think of the person who never studied wealth and therefore remains trapped in financial struggle. Think of the leader who never learned discipline and therefore crumbled under pressure. Think of the dreamer who they studied persistence and therefore gave up too early. In every case, ignorance stole more than effort ever could. You will never know the true price of ignorance because it is measured in the things you never achieve. But here is the truth that should set fire to your soul. Ignorance is curable. It is destroyed by daily education, by discipline, by hunger for growth. Every page you read, every lesson you learn, every mentor you listen to, every hour you dedicate to feeding your mind, these are weapons against ignorance. Education is not an event, it is a daily war. You fight ignorance not once, but every single day. And if you win each, regret. The ignorant man believes education is expensive. The wise man knows ignorance is costlier. The ignorant man wastes his nights in distraction. The wise man invests his nights in learning. The ignorant man blames fate. The wise man sharpens his mind. In time, the difference is undeniable. One lives trapped, the other lives free. Ignorance is the most expensive mistake you can afford, but it is also the most avoidable. Make learning your daily commitment. Read, listen, observe, question, grow. Do not allow ignorance to rob you of the life you deserve. Feed your mind because what you do not know will hurt you. And what you choose to learn will empower you. So I say it again, ignorance is the most expensive mistake you can afford. Do not pay that price. Refuse ignorance. Reject blindness. Choose daily education. Choose discipline. Choose growth. Because when you do, you build a life where opportunities open, confidence rises, and power becomes your natural state. And in that life, ignorance is no longer your enemy. It is your past. Self-education builds confidence faster than external validation. When you teach yourself, when you commit to growth without waiting for applause, something powerful happens inside you. You stop begging for permission to succeed. You stop waiting for others to approve your worth. You stop depending on someone else to tell you that you are capable. Instead, your confidence rises from within, built on the foundation of knowledge and discipline that no one can take away from you. External validation is fragile. It comes today, disappears tomorrow, and changes with the opinions of others. One moment they praise you, the next they doubt you. If your confidence is chained to what others say, you will always be weak, always uncertain, always needing approval to move forward. But self-education, your daily decision to feed your mind, sharpen your skills, and grow your knowledge, creates confidence that does not bend, does not break, and does know. Depend on anyone. Think of this clearly. A person who knows is unshakable. A person who is educated in their craft does not wait for someone to say, "One, you can do it." They already know they can because they have built the skill, they have studied the path, they have done the work. Knowledge fuels belief, and belief fuels action. External validation might give you a quick spark, but self-education gives you a permanent flame. Most people are trapped because they are addicted to approval. They need likes on their posts, compliments from their peers, recognition from their bosses. They are starving for validation, but starving because they never fed themselves. They want confidence without work, respect without knowledge, growth without discipline. But you cannot fake true confidence. You cannot trick the world into believing in you if you do not believe in yourself. And belief in yourself is born from self-education. When you read, when you study, when you learn something new every day, your confidence grows not because someone clapped for you, but because you know more today than you did yesterday. That knowledge compounds. It gives you an edge. It makes you stand taller, speak louder, act bolder. You no longer hope you are enough. You know you are enough because you've proven it through your effort. Self-education teaches you resilience. External validation is shallow. It disappears when challenges come. But when you've educated yourself, when you have invested in your own mind, you have a foundation to fall back on. You are not dependent on applause. You are not broken by criticism. You move forward regardless of who cheers, because your confidence is trained your mind through relentless study. You naturally command attention. You do not chase validation. Validation chases you. But here is the tragedy. Most waste their lives chasing approval instead of chasing growth. They dress for recognition, speak for attention, act for applause. They look outward for confidence, but it never lasts. Then years later, they realize they built nothing inside themselves. Their house of validation crumbles with the first storm. Meanwhile, the person who chose self-education is standing tall, rooted, and unshakable because their confidence was not borrowed, it was built. Self-education requires no permission. You don't need someone to open a door for you. You don't need a certificate to begin. You don't need anyone to clap for you. You only need the will to start, the discipline to continue, and the hunger to never stop. And as you grow, your confidence will rise naturally. You won't need to shout, to sigh, "I'm capable." The world will see it in your actions, hear it in your words, and feel it in your presence. The fastest way to kill insecurity is not through compliments. It is through competence. And competence comes from learning, from self-education, from daily feeding of the mind. When you are competent, you cannot be shaken. Criticism does not scare you. Doubt does not paralyze you. Rejection does not break you, because deep down you know your worth. And that worth was not handed to you by others, it was forged by you. So understand this once and for all. External validation may give you a boost, but it cannot build you. Only self-education can. If you want confidence, feed your mind daily. Read the books, listen to the wisdom, practice the skills, learn from mistakes. Keep moving forward. With each lesson gained, your confidence will grow, not as a borrowed gift, but as an unshakable foundation. Self-education builds confidence faster than external validation, because confidence rooted in knowledge is unbreakable. Choose to build it. Choose to learn daily. Choose to rise without needing anyone's applause. And when you do, you will walk into any room with certainty, face any challenge with courage, and live a life no critic, no doubt, no rejection can ever take from you. A man or woman who stops learning starts dying, not with the death of the body, but with the death of the spirit, the mind, and the potential that once lived inside them. Life is growth, and growth comes only through learning. The moment you stop feeding your mind, the moment you stop stretching your vision, the moment you stop seeking new knowledge, you begin the slow decline into stagnation. You may still breathe, still eat, still walk, but inside, the flame of progress is gone. Stagnation is death in disguise. Learning is the oxygen of the mind. Without it, your thoughts grow stale, your ideas dry up, your confidence weakens, and your opportunities vanish. The person who refuses to learn slowly becomes irrelevant in a world that moves forward. EV. Eerie single day. Technology evolves. Industries transform. Ideas shift. And yet the man who stops learning remains frozen in yesterday. He is alive in body but dead in spirit because he no longer grows. The great tragedy of life is not death itself, but wasted potential, the life unlived, the greatness unclaimed, the wisdom ignored. Every man or woman has the chance to keep expanding, to keep improving, to keep reaching higher levels of mastery. But those who stop learning stop living fully. They settle into comfort, and comfort hardens into decay. Comfort feels safe, but it kills the hunger that makes life meaningful. Think about it. The child learns to walk, to speak, to read, to explore. Growth is natural. Progress is instinct. But somewhere along the way, people convince themselves they know enough. They finish school, they finish training, and they believe their learning is over. That belief is the beginning of their slow death. The truth is, life never stops teaching. The only question is whether you keep listening. The world belongs to the learner. Opportunities open only to the prepared mind. Wealth flows only to those who study its laws. Leadership belongs only to those who continue to expand their vision. The man or woman who keeps learning becomes adaptable, unshakable, unstoppable. But the one who stops learning becomes fragile, easily broken by change, easily replaced, easily forgotten. Learning is not limited to books. It is not confined to classrooms. Learning is a lifelong discipline. Through observation, through study, through mistakes, through curiosity, through every single experience. Each day holds a lesson, but you must train yourself to see it. The learner extracts wisdom from failure, while the stagnant one only feels pain. The learner gains strength from rejection, while the stagnant one collapses. The learner finds opportunity in change, while the stagnant one fears it. A man or woman who stops learning starts dying, because learning is the heartbeat of growth. Growth gives life its excitement, its energy, its momentum. Without it, life becomes dull repetition, the same cycle of empty days repeated until the grave. But with it, every day becomes an adventure, another chance to sharpen your mind, expand your influence, and rise higher. Confidence comes from learning. Resilience comes from learning. Power comes from learning. Ignorance destroys all three. Many people hide their fear behind arrogance, pretending to know enough. But deep down they are insecure because their knowledge has not grown. True confidence comes not from pretending you know everything, but from continuously learning so you can face anything. The difference between those who live fully and those who merely exist is simple. One keeps learning, the other does not. Look at those who inspire, those who lead, those who dominate in their fields. Every one of them is a lifelong student. They feed their mind daily, not because they are weak, but because no strength is built through constant education. Their hunger never ends, and because of it, their influence never fades. What happens when you stop learning? You stop dreaming, you stop creating, you stop moving forward. Slowly, you become a shadow of who you were meant to be. You watch others rise while you remain stuck, and you convince yourself that life is unfair. But life is not unfair. You simply stopped feeding the one thing that keeps you alive, your mind. So the choice is in your hands. Will you let your spirit decay in comfort, or will you keep yourself alive through relentless learning? Every day you have the chance to choose growth or death. Growth requires effort, discipline, hunger. Death requires nothing but comfort and neglect. But the rewards of growth are limitless, while the cost of stagnation is everything. Feed your mind daily, learn relentlessly, stay curious, stay hungry. Read the books, study the masters, observe the world, question your own thinking, sharpen your skills. Refuse to become stagnant. Refuse to let your spirit die while your body still breathes. Keep learning and you will keep living, not just existing, but truly living with purpose, with confidence, with power. Because a man or woman who stops learning starts dying. But the one who keeps learning never stops growing, and growth is life itself. Opportunities bow only to the prepared mind. They do not reveal themselves to the careless. They do not serve the lazy, and they do not wait for the unready. Life is full of hidden chances, doors that can change your entire future, but they are invisible to the eyes of those who have not prepared. Opportunity does not belong to everyone. It belongs only to the ones who have sharpened their mind enough to recognize it and strong enough to seize it. Preparation is the silent builder of destiny. When you educate yourself daily, when you discipline your habits, when you strengthen your skills, you are preparing for opportunities that have not yet appeared. To the unprepared, opportunity looks like chaos, risk, or even failure. but to the prepared it shines like gold, waiting to be claimed. That is why two people can face the same situation. One sees disaster, the other sees a doorway to greatness. The difference is preparation. Life does not reward wishes, it rewards readiness. People wait, hoping opportunity will knock on their door, but when it arrives, they are too weak, too blind, or too doubtful to answer. Opportunity is wasted not because it never came, but because the person was not ready to receive it. The truth is simple. Opportunity does not bow to the dreamer, it bows to the prepared mind. Preparation transforms fear into confidence. An unprepared person trembles when opportunity arrives because they know deep inside they are not equipped. They pray for chances but run when they appear. On the other hand, the prepared mind stands tall. They welcome opportunity because they have armed themselves with knowledge, trained themselves with discipline, and sharpened themselves through daily effort. What others call luck is simply the moment where preparation and opportunity meet. Think of the greatest athletes, leaders, inventors, and visionaries. None of them stumbled into greatness blindly. They were prepared. They practiced long before the spotlight. They studied long before the stage. They trained long before the battle. When their moment came, they did not hesitate. They executed. Their preparation made the opportunity bow. The tragedy of life is not that opportunities don't exist. It's that most people never prepare. They live distracted, wasting their days, hoping something will change, but they do nothing to change themselves. Then, when opportunity appears, they cannot see it, they cannot seize it, and they watch it pass into the hands of someone who was ready. Regret follows, but regret cannot bring back what ignorance destroyed. Preparation is not glamorous, it is quiet, it is built in tea. Hours when no one is watching. In the effort no one applauds, in the sacrifices no one notices. That is why so few prepare. The work feels invisible. But preparation is never wasted. Every book you read, every skill you sharpen, every habit you master, every challenge you overcome is preparing you for a door you cannot yet see. One day that door will appear, and you will walk through it with power because you were ready. Understand this, opportunities are not rare, they are everywhere, but most cannot recognize them because recognition requires education, awareness, and vision. Opportunities hide from the ignorant but bow to the prepared. The prepared mind sees a path where others see a wall, a lesson where others see failure, a chance where others see chaos. Preparation creates perception, and perception creates success. Do not wait for your moment to arrive before you start preparing. By then it will be too late. The man who waits to sharpen his sword until battle has already, saint the woman who waits to study. Opportunity belongs not to everyone, but to the few who made themselves ready long before it appeared. Be one of the few. Discipline in learning creates mastery in action. Knowledge without discipline is wasted potential. A man or woman can read countless books, hear countless lectures, collect endless advice, but without the discipline to practice, to apply, to stay consistent, that knowledge remains locked inside, powerless and unused. True mastery does not come from what you know. It comes from what you do with what you know. And the bridge between the two is discipline. Learning is the foundation, but discipline is the builder. Imagine pouring concrete without shaping it. Imagine planting seeds without tending them. Nothing of value will grow. In the same way, learning without discipline leaves you with fragments of wisdom but no strength, fragments of potential but no achievement. It is the daily act of disciplined learning, reading with focus, studying with intent, practicing. Persistence that transforms scattered knowledge into sharpened action. Discipline in learning means showing up every day even when you don't feel like it. It means resisting the distractions that steal your time. It means digging deep into a subject until it becomes part of you, not just a passing idea. This discipline trains your mind, sharpens your focus, and builds a mental toughness that spills into everything you do. And when your learning is disciplined, your actions become powerful, precise, and effective. Mastery is not born from talent. It is forged in discipline. History proves it. The greatest musicians, athletes, leaders, and innovators were not simply born with gifts. They disciplined themselves to learn relentlessly, practice endlessly, and apply consistently. They mastered their craft because they respected the process. Talent may open the door, but discipline builds the palace. Without discipline, learning becomes entertainment. You consume information, feel inspired for a moment, and then return to the same patterns of weakness. But with discipline, learning becomes transformation. Every lesson is applied, every idea is tested, every mistake is studied. You turn theory into practice, and practice into mastery. That is how confidence is built. Not by memorizing knowledge, but by disciplining yourself to act on it until it becomes second nature. Discipline in learning also destroys fear. Fear thrives in ignorance, in hesitation, in uncertainty. But when you discipline yourself to study and practice, you gain clarity, and clarity breeds courage. You fear less because you know more, and because you have rehearsed enough to trust your own ability. When challenge comes, you do not crumble. You perform because you prepared. The undisciplined learner is easily broken. They start but never finish. They know but never apply. They talk but never act. Their lives are full of half-built ideas and unfinished plans, but the disciplined learner is unstoppable. They do not wait for motivation, they move by principle. They do not wait for perfect conditions, they create strength in every condition. And over time, their actions become so sharp, so precise, so effective, that the world calls them a master. Discipline in learning is not glamorous. It is repetition, struggle, focus, sacrifice. It is reading when you'd rather scroll. It is practicing when you'd rather sleep. It is applying the lesson even when you fail. But this is the price of mastery. And while most avoid this price, the few who pay it live lives of excellence that others call impossible. Every breakthrough you desire, wealth, influence, success, freedom, requires mastery. And mastery requires discipline. You cannot shortcut the process. You cannot demand the reward without the work. But the beauty of discipline is this: what feels hard today becomes effortless tomorrow. What once required all your energy becomes natural, automatic, part of who you are. That is mastery, effort turned. D into instinct, struggle turned into strength. So discipline yourself, learn daily. Not randomly, not casually, not when convenient, but with relentless consistency. Study with intent, practice with intensity, apply with courage. Day by day, you will transform knowledge into action, action into habit, habit into mastery. And mastery is what separates the average from the exceptional, the ordinary from the unstoppable. Discipline in learning creates mastery in action. It is the secret of the elite, the weapon of the prepared, the foundation of greatness. Choose it, live it, and watch as your actions rise above hesitation, above fear, above mediocrity, until they command respect, create results, and carve your name into the legacy of those who mastered their world. Your brain is your greatest capital. Invest in it daily. Far greater than gold, land, or any possession you can touch, the mind is the treasure chest that determines whether you rise or fall, succeed or fail. Everything you own today, everything you build tomorrow, every opportunity you create or destroy, it all begins with the quality of your thinking. Yet most people spend their lives polishing shoes, building bodies, chasing money, and decorating houses while starving the very source of it all, their brain. Money without wisdom vanishes. Strength without direction fades. Status without intelligence collapses. But when your mind is sharp, educated, and disciplined, you can lose everything and still rise again. That is the power of intellectual capital. It does not burn, it does not rust, it cannot be stolen, unless you allow ignorance to rob you. Investing in your brain daily is the only guarantee that you will never be powerless in this world. Think of it this way: if you put one coin into a jar every single day, by the end of the year you'd have a fortune you never thought possible. The brain works the same. One page of a book, one new idea, one skill practiced daily, these are coins of knowledge that compound. At first you may see little difference, but keep going, and the compounding effect transforms your mind into a powerhouse. The weak thinker stays the same. but the one who invests in learning daily becomes unstoppable. Most people spend more time scrolling on screens than feeding their minds. They consume distraction, not education. They gossip, not grow. They waste hours, then wonder why opportunities slip away. Ignorance is not innocent, it is costly. The greatest opportunities of life only bow to the sharp mind. The undisciplined brain sees nothing but obstacles. The trained brain sees solutions where others see walls. Investing in your brain means reading deliberately, studying strategically, questioning constantly, and applying relentlessly. It means cutting off mental junk food, mindless entertainment, useless conversations, negative thinking, and replacing it with wisdom that builds you. Every book you devour, every course you study, every mentor you learn from is not an XP. NSE. It is an investment with infinite returns. The interest you earn is confidence, clarity, decision-making power, and the ability to create wealth and freedom. Your brain is the control tower of your destiny. If it is weak, scattered, and undisciplined, you will drift like a ship with no captain. If it is strong, focused, and filled with knowledge, you will direct your life like a master pilot, steering through storms and reaching destinations others thought unreachable. The quality of your future depends on the quality of your mind, and the quality of your mind depends on how much you invest in it daily. There are people who win the lottery and lose everything in months. Why? Because money without a trained brain is a curse. There are people who inherit wealth but end in ruin. Why? Because wealth without wisdom destroys itself. Yet there are those who start with nothing, but with the habit of investing in their brain daily, they rise from poverty to power, from obscurity to influence. The difference is never luck. It is always the mind. Do not wait for schools or systems to educate you. They can only take you so far. True education is self-driven, and the responsibility rests on you. The great achievers of history were relentless self-learners. They read voraciously, they sought wisdom, they studied every day as if their lives depended on it, because they knew their lives did depend on it. That is the mindset you must adopt. Feed your brain as if it is oxygen. Sharpen it as if it is a sword. Guard it as if it is treasure. When you wake up each day, ask yourself, what did I feed my mind today? Did I strengthen it, or did I weaken it? Did I invest in it, or did I starve it? Did I add another coin to my mental capital, or did I throw it away on distractions? Every day you choose, and every choice compounds. The body ages, the face wrinkles, the possessions come and go. But the mind, if you invest in it daily, can grow sharper, stronger, more powerful with every year. Imagine being 50, 60, 70 years old, yet possessing a mind so sharp it cuts through any challenge. That is the reward of daily investment. While others decline, you ascend. While others complain, you create. While others lose themselves to time, you rise above time with a mind trained to conquer. So make it your mission. Invest in your brain daily, not once a week, not when convenient, daily. Protect it from mental poison, feed it with truth, sharpen it with study, test it with application. Treat your brain like the greatest capital you will ever own, because it is. And once you master your mind, no economy, no failure, no enemy can ever strip you of the power to rebuild, to create, to rise again. Your brain is your greatest capital. Guard it, grow it, invest in it daily, and it will pay you dividends for life. Educating yourself is the only weapon no one can strip away. Everything else in this world can be taken from you. Money can vanish overnight, possessions can be stolen, Tallis can be stripped. Even the people you love can be separated from you. But the knowledge you carry, the wisdom you cultivate, the education you seize for yourself, those remain yours. They are the weapons no thief, no enemy, no failure can disarm you of. They are the shields that protect you, the swords that carve your future, the tools that build your destiny. History is full of people who lost kingdoms, fortunes, and positions, yet rose again because they carried a wealth inside their mind that no one could confiscate. When you educate yourself, you build an inner empire that no destruction can touch. Fire cannot burn it, Chains cannot hold it. Even in the darkest prison, a mind sharpened by education is freer than the body of a ruler who never learned. That is the unmatched power of self-education. Education is not simply information, it is transformation. It turns weakness into strength, fear into courage, confusion into clarity. When you commit to learning daily, you are forging a weapon stronger than steel, a mind that cannot be broken. Wars may destroy cities, disasters may wipe away riches, but knowledge always finds a way to rebuild. It is the invisible currency that multiplies wherever it is invested. Most people underestimate the value of education because they confuse it with formal schooling. But true education is far greater. True education is the hunger to learn beyond the classroom, the discipline to seek answers when no one is watching, the courage to teach yourself when the world offers no teacher. It is self-driven, unstoppable, relentless. That kind of education cannot be granted, and it cannot be taken away. Ignorance, on the other hand, is the weapon life uses against the unprepared. When you refuse to educate yourself, you hand over your power willingly. You become easy to manipulate, easy to defeat, easy to discard. The uneducated mind becomes dependent, enslaved by the knowledge of others. But the educated mind, trained daily, sharpened consistently, becomes independent, free, untouchable. Every book you read, every idea you wrestle with, every lesson you master is a blade added to your arsenal. Over time, your mind becomes a fortress of weapons, logic, creativity, wisdom, skill, clarity, that protect you against every enemy and propel you through every obstacle. And the more you educate yourself, the sharper these weapons grow. Unlike physical weapons, they do not dull with use, they only grow stronger. Educating yourself also builds courage. When you know, you fear less. Fear thrives on the unknown, but education replaces the unknown with understanding. The more you learn, the more power you gain over fear, over doubt, over hesitation. You act with confidence not because life gets easier, but because your mind gets stronger. That is the weapon education places in your hand, the power to advance when others freeze. Think about this truth. The wealthiest, most influential, most powerful people in the world did not arrive there. Luck. They equipped themselves with the weapon of education. They trained their minds, they studied, they learned, they invested in wisdom every single day. And because of that, even when failure knocked them down, they rose again, sharper, faster, stronger. Their success was not in what they owned, but in what they knew. You must treat your own education with the same seriousness. Educating yourself is not optional, it is survival. In a world that changes faster than ever, where yesterday's skills become outdated tomorrow, your only true security is the knowledge you carry. That weapon keeps you relevant, keeps you valuable, keeps you advancing when others fall behind. But understand this, no one else will hand you this weapon. You must forge it yourself. You must pick up the book when others pick up the remote. You must study when others waste hours in gossip. You must feed your mind when others starve theirs. Every day is a choice. Educate yourself and grow powerful, or neglect yourself and grow weak. So let it be clear, when you educate yourself, you become undefeatable. The world can strip you of status, of possessions, of everything external, but it cannot strip you of what you know. That weapon is yours alone. Carry it, sharpen it, wield it daily, and with it you will carve out victories in every area of your life. Educating yourself is the only weapon no one can strip away. Protect it, build it, use it, and it will protect you, build you, and lift you to heights no force on earth can ever tear down. And so I leave you with this truth. Greatness is not built in a day, it is built daily. Through relentless education, through the discipline of learning, through the courage to sharpen your mind when others waste theirs. Knowledge is the seed of every achievement, and your brain is the greatest capital you will ever own. Invest in it, guard it, expand it, because opportunities bow only to the prepared, and ignorance is the most expensive mistake you can afford. Educate yourself daily, not when it is easy, not when it is convenient, but every single day. Make it your weapon, your shield, your foundation, your fire, For everything else can be stripped away, but what you know, who you become, and the mastery you forge in your mind will remain yours forever. So rise, discipline yourself, and feed your mind with wisdom until your actions roar with mastery. The world belongs to the educated, the prepared, the relentless. Be one of them, and remember, educating yourself daily is not just a habit, it is your path to unstoppable power.